Guess what, Greg?
What's that, Tim?
Once again, we're brought to you by Video Blocks, and I'm really excited about this. Obviously, Video Blocks, you should know by now, it's a stock footage website. You subscribe to it, you can get unlimited stuff. But Greg, did you know that Video Blocks also has a sister site, Audio Blocks? And they offer unlimited access to premium audio stuff.
Wow.
Video Blocks allows unlimited daily downloads from a library of 115,000 video clips. Audio Blocks has 130,000 audio things.
Can you get sounds like this?
I'm sure if you typed in Eagle, you'd get something similar.
That was
anyways, 100% royalty free. It's fantastic. Even after your subscription ends, you can still forever use the products. But Video Blocks is offering you all a year's subscription to both services for only $149. This is a $100 discount off the usual price tag for our followers only. An incredible discounted deal to get both stock video and audio files for any project you may be working on or have planned for the future. Get your year subscription today for only $149 at videoblocks.com/Gamescast 2016. That's Video Blocks. Here you go. You can see it. Videoblocks.com/Gamescast 2016. This is a new code for the bundle.
It's a new code. Pay attention.
New code, new times. I love Video Blocks. Next topic. Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
I was going to do the Uncharted didgeridoo, but that doesn't make sense for Tomb Raider. There's no iconic Tomb Raider song for me to do.
Not really. My God. Over on Kotaku, Jason Schreier wrote an article called Name of Next Tomb Raider Leaks Because Guy Had It Open on Subway. Redditor Triple H280 reported that he was riding a Montreal subway and took a picture of a guy's laptop. And if you zoom in a bit, you can make out the name Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which is also a name we've heard floated for the next game in Lara Croft's iconic series. A source told me today that this is indeed the name. It certainly fits with the last two games, Tomb Raider and Rise of the Tomb Raider. Square Enix has not yet responded to a request for comment. Quote, the page he was on talked about visuals. Triple H280 told me, I'm from Montreal, Quebec. I was going downtown for work, blah, blah, blah. I saw some stuff. It was blurry. You can't really see anything. But wait, you might be thinking, isn't Tomb Raider developed by Crystal Dynamics, a studio in San Francisco? You'd be right. Except we hear Eidos Montreal, the large studio behind Thief and Deus Ex Mankind Divided, is helming Lara Croft's next adventure. Coincidentally, Eidos Montreal is just a few minutes away from Ubisoft Montreal, whose employees accidentally revealed Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag on an airplane 3 years ago. So for this topic, I want to talk about game leaks as a whole, because this is definitely a thing that keeps happening.
Sure.
And also what you think about this, especially you as the big Tomb Raider guy, and this Tomb Raider specifically. Sure. What do you think about the name? What do you think about it not being Crystal making it? And what do you think about it being Eidos making it?
See, you threw me because I was going to say I was going to answer all the questions the same way. No, but I don't mind about the name. The name's good. Whatever. Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Okay, cool. Whatever. It's if it's true that it's Eidos, right, and it's not Crystal, I'm like, oh, that sucks. And it's not that Eidos is a bad studio. You know what I mean? People fucking love Mankind Divided. Nick loves it. I've played it. It's not my kind of game, but I enjoyed what I played. I get that they're talented. I get they know what they're doing. But I love Crystal Dynamics, and I love what they've done with these two Tomb Raider games, and I want to see them continue to do it. And them not doing it then is like, oh, so what are they doing? Are we going to get a Tomb Raider every year now? Are we going that kind of way?
The word is that they're also working on a Tomb Raider.
Are we getting these interstitial, like, where it's going to be like where Assassin's Creed is going to be like Call of Duty? And then is that too much Tomb Raider? Because that was
tombs to raid, man.
There are a lot of tombs to raid. I agree with that. But I like them being the marquee Uncharted kind of experience, right? Where every few years, bam, here it is. It's this huge game. It's this new thing. Camilla Luddington's back. It's also... based on the blurry image and everything else, the name alone, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, right? And it's Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and it's another studio, makes me go, is it Lara, or is this someone in her shadow? Is the fact that it was Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, she's in her own shadow? There's something usually to read into these names, and is she in the shadow of her father, which is a big theme of Rise of the Tomb Raider, and obviously with the blood tie stuff, they were still driving how much family means and how much she was chasing that. But we've never referred to her father as Tomb Raider before. We knew he was, but this is Rise of the Tomb Raider, and she rose. That's what it was supposed to be, right?
Yeah. So he plays the butler, who's always felt like he was in her shadow.
Exactly. He's finally gonna get his moment. Yeah, but and then it's like What if it is some kind of weird prequel thing where it is I'm playing as a younger version of her father that's setting up her, and it's like, I don't want that crap. No, just let me be Lara.
It's gonna be Lara Croft. There's no way that
just
they
throwing
do
it out there. I'm just saying, we're in the tree of trust here. We're just talking about crazy things and what can happen or whatever. So the name, fine with. Eidos, I'm okay with it, whatever, but I really hope that this doesn't mean Crystal's walking away from Tomb Raider, which would be crazy. Of course, obviously, we just had Rich Briggs on the exclusive Gamescast that went up on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, where he's the guy in charge of charting what Tomb Raider's course is going to be and stuff, and he's here. I don't know what that means to have Eidos up there, but he also did talk about how he's got his hand in the comics and in the movies and all these different things. There's so much going on, and I guess even then, that's the other thing too.
There is the movie.
What if this plays into the movie, right? And he was cagey about this on the Gamescast, but like the movie is in the universe of the game, so what is this?
Is it?
Yeah, is this a tie-in to that and all these different things? Who knows? A lot more questions.
This sound like Prince of Persia shit.
Yeah,
right? Like
oh,
that
no, you didn't like the Jake Gyllenhaal one, but you hate him. Ever since Donnie Darko, you've hated him.
Hated him.
Yeah. But no, I mean it's. So that's what it is on the Tomb Raider side of it. On the leak side of it, it's like, oh man, really? On the subway, you're gonna have your computer open with an unannounced confidential game on it? And I was talking about this on Colin Moriarty Live, right? I think it goes to show something that I think a lot of people in this industry take for granted, the fact that gaming is huge. Don't forget that gaming is huge. And like, I'm sure for this person, 98% of the time he meets somebody, or he's on next to somebody in the subway and they have no fucking idea what he's doing, or he meets somebody at a party and they're like, oh cool, what's that? Oh, you make games? Well, I've never heard of Deus Ex. What's sex? What are you doing? No, I gotta do this. And you get in that mindset of like, nobody really gives a shit of what I'm doing. And you forget that everyone has a camera and a microphone and a video thing, and they're gonna be right there behind you if they see something on an S and they think they put it on Reddit.
480 or whatever.
I like to imagine it's real Triple H.
Yeah, he just wasn't first on his name.
Yeah.
So he had to.
Damn it, Stephanie, what do we do?
What are your takes on this?
I think it's unfortunate for the guy. I think he. Though I was talking about this with Greg, it's kind of one of those tough things where I think he probably should be fired for doing for being so careless, like simply because this is a game in secret that hundreds of people are privy to, and he's the one that leaked it like prematurely or whatever, and you kind of need to make an example of people that do that kind of shit for a game. I feel bad for him because he was probably like late to work or working on his presentation, or it was a careless move, and I feel bad for everyone involved in the game that happened. But I'm glad that it happened in the sense that we like these kinds of leaks on our side because it's fun to talk and to conjecture about these kinds of things. So I wish that guy, first of all, I wish that guy the very best. I hope he doesn't get fired, but I think he will probably face some stiff discipline because this is a big deal. It's a game that they're dumping probably tens of millions of dollars into. So
again, this is happening in Canada though. They're probably just like,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I doubt they're going to fire him. And I think that he definitely should be reprimanded, but I think firing might be a little too extreme. But
I would put the fear of God. You know what? You don't see Rockstar guys ever leaking anything.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing about it is we talk about
that's none of my business.
We talk about leaks and all these different things, and yeah, Rockstar doesn't do this thing. And Naughty Dog, right? When they were leading up to Last of Us, they put out that email, "Don't be that guy," right? Don't be the guy who fucks this up for everybody. And so it's weird that it keeps happening because you'd think, okay, I'm on a game development team. I know I'm working on a major franchise in Tomb Raider, and especially like on our side of the industry with the amount of access we have and the people we talk to and the embargoes we're under and it's always somewhat offensive, especially when we're out with like a friend we've had for a long time where they're like, oh, we're working on this unannounced project. And you're like, all right, we're off the record. You can tell me. But there is that part of them that doesn't want to give it up because they don't want to be the guy. They don't want to be the one who screws up or leaves their iPad on a plane. Yeah,
we talk about this all the time, but it's like when we know things that we're not supposed to talk about, it's hard to not talk about them because then you're like, wait a minute, do other people know this?
Yep.
Am I allowed to talk about this at this point? And like all that stuff, and it gets so complicated.
That's the thing too, where I think I think I can speak for myself, but I think for both of you guys too, is that we then often overly play it safe.
Yeah.
Where I know on Colin and Greg Live, we'll talk about stuff, things will come up, and we know the answer to what the question is or whatever. So we read the story and we just go. Let's not even discuss it. Let's not even give one of us the option to be like, well, wait, did he ever say that publicly? Did she ever do, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that's my whole problem, and I've talked about it in the past. The South Park delay was a good example where we knew about that for a long time, and I was like, is this... You kind of start wondering, like, what world you live in where it's like, do people know? Is this public? So there's a lot of secrets being told. We know a ton of things that are still not announced, but the thing here is that I just think it's on that particular situation is careless and unfortunate for everyone involved in the game, and you just don't see massive studios don't do this. The way Destiny leaked, for instance, was someone left a fucking binder in a restaurant. That's how Destiny leaked, right? Like that's a careless move, but not quite as careless as having your laptop open in a fucking Subway. So I wish the guy the best, but it's different. Like Red Dead Redemption's been in development for like 5 years. No one said a fucking word. So there is the fear of God. There's a different, like if I can't imagine what they do to people at Rockstar that would even think about doing something like that. I just think that there's got to be a level of respect to the people you're working with, and I think that's a fucking stupid mistake. Weak link kind of shit. But as far as the game's concerned, so I thought I read, and I thought it might not be in that piece, but I thought I read somewhere. It is conjecture. I don't have any connections on this game at all. That there was a source saying Crystal is working on Tomb Raider. So it sounds
Another
like
source,
yeah.
yeah.
So it sounds like could be. I don't want to say are. It sounds like there could be 2 Tomb Raider games, and this is what came to mind for me was Batman Arkham Origins, and then Batman Arkham Knight. Being kind of developed, and that's the big push. I don't think it's. I didn't think about it before. I don't really have a connection. I mean, I used to play Tomb Raider when I was a kid, but I don't have the connection Greg has to Tomb Raider. But it doesn't sound out of the ordinary that might not be a Lara Croft story, specifically because it seems like that story's wrapped up or that arc is wrapped up at Crystal. It would be interesting to see if it was a prequel, similar, or something that takes place in between the games, similar to Uncharted on Vita or something like that. But it would be cool to see a different character, someone that like a bad guy or some different perspective or a different Tomb Raider or whatever. I think would, I don't know that that's necessarily a winning idea, but it's certainly optional. I do get a little distressed that Square Enix seems to not be. If this is true, this game's clearly in development, but if there's a 4th game in development in the new reimagined series, then I am getting a little concerned that Square Enix is going down the Ubisoft, like, let's fucking milk this thing,
And that's why,
for what it's worth, and I think that's a huge mistake.
And I can't imagine that's what it is. Not knowing what the hell's going on, I can't imagine that it is Shadow of the Tomb Raider and then Crystal Dynamics' 3rd Tomb Raider game. That seems like too much, especially based on the fact that these games have been critically. I see it off the side. Sorry, I see the PlayStation, collector's edition thing. The fact that they've done well critically, people love them, but for sure, Rise didn't set the world on fire in terms of sales. I forget what the original did anymore in Definitive Edition. How that all. I mean, they do well enough to make Rise, but I mean, even when Rise came out and it was Xbox exclusive, the numbers were super soft. I haven't heard anything about what the 20-year celebration's done yet.
Oh, I mean, it just came out too. So.
Exactly. So it's like. That seems like you're the fire. You're going to put the fire out. You're trying to put too much into it too fast.
Yeah.
It's not Runaway. It's not Assassin's Creed. It's not people banging on the doors. People love Tomb Raider. I love Tomb Raider. It's their 20-year greats. Megan just made that book and all these different things. Mm-hmm. But I don't think there's a need to rush out just yet and be making a game every year and a half.
It's not just yet. It's ever. Like there's just never a need to do it. And I think Square Enix typically shows a lot of restraint. So they show less restraint sometimes with their Japanese games. They look what they did with Final Fantasy 13. They took a terrible game and made it even worse, and then maybe even worse than that. 3 times over, but they typically show they're just not Activision and they're not Ubisoft, and Ubisoft is somewhere in the middle. I think Ubisoft learned their lesson, and they're certainly, not showing a little restraint with Far Cry. Showing it would be way easier, and it's what we talk about with Rockstar, and I've said it many times. Where if I were Rockstar, it would be hard for me not to say like we're gonna just contract 5 different studios and have a Grand Theft Auto game literally every year. But they don't do that, and lo and behold, today was announced Grand Theft Auto 5, 70 million units sold. So, like, based on just that investment 3 years ago, plus having an online infrastructure and all these kinds of things, incredible,
Real quick, I'm going to toss this out there. This is something totally stupid, random. There's nothing to back it up, but let's play a fun game together, best friends. Mark this down. The other day, I finally checked my Reddit DMs, which I never, ever do, my Reddit private messages or whatever, and some guy hit me up saying that his friend gives...
His uncle works at Rockstar?
His friend gives tours. Or something like that. Not tours like, like, hey, there's a fucking house or whatever. But he's a location scout. And people from Rockstar were down in Miami doing
Vice
that.
City.
Yeah, like just down there scoping out that, getting a tour, going around, seeing all this different stuff. So if in 5 years, 6 years, GTA is in Miami or something, whatever another Vice City or whatever.
Well, so what's interesting about this is next week on Gamescast I want to revisit this, but there was a topic I saw on NeoGAF of a bunch of leaked stuff, and I don't know if it was confirmed or not, but it wasn't confirmed, but if it looks legit or not, but kind of a roadmap of a bunch of different plans they have for GTA 5 and for its online mode and things they're doing, and it looked from what I read that they're going to add Liberty City and Los Fierros and whatever the hell the San Francisco one was. San Francisco and Vegas from the OG San Andreas into this. And like there's this whole plan. And then Vice City was, I think, something like 2020 or something. And that would be closer to the GTA 6. But the GTA Online would be this more ever-present thing that goes from game to game. And I want to talk about that more in the future GTA next week. But Oh, that would add up with that.
Yeah.
Could be very cool.
There you go. Free scoop for you, Patrick Klepek.
But yeah, leaks. Is there any other, like, because Destiny was the big one, where that leaked a couple years ago.
Every Assassin's
Creed.
Every single one.
Assassin's Creed Victory, whatever that, but that was the Industrial Revolution one, right? Rogue leaked. I mean, a lot of games leak constantly.
There's too many people moving. There's too many hands.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, it's like, I just feel like it's easy to look at this shit and be like, how the fuck were you doing that? You're an idiot. And it's like, yeah, you fucked up. But there's so many people that are working on these games. And even if they're not actually working on the games, the sales teams, the marketing teams, they're the ones that care the most. But sales dude doesn't fucking care. You know what I mean?
He doesn't even know most of the time, right?
Yeah, and so it's just like...
Not to mention when you go to the sales dude who's selling an ad to IGN or buying an ad from IGN, and then we put up an ad too early that had a release date on it and stuff.
Yep.
That happened all the time.
All that type of stuff.
GoldenEye on Wii leaked because
Trailer.
someone at IGN, I remember it was an intern, I think, published the trailer
At
too early.
E3, yeah.
I mean, at
That shit
IGN,
happens.
that happened all the time.
Yeah,
I
there was
remember
some
when
Final
we were
Fantasy
there.
thing too.
A ton of Final Fantasy stuff, actually. But the Borscht thing, it's not a game, but they published the Avengers 2 movie trailer before anyone
really?
else
I didn't
did.
know that. I didn't
Oh,
remember
God.
that.
That was like all hands on deck. It was 6:30 at night, and everyone was just like, holy fuck, we fucked up.
Yeah.
And it was because somebody in IGN Berlin or whatever was using the system and not understanding that you need to,
Embargo and all that stuff. No,
it was a disaster.
that is my legitimate nightmare when we do a PS I Love You or a Gamescast or whatever, a video that I'm in that I've edited and put up where I know that like I always talk about, right? Jericho over on the forums, he goes through and compiles all the questions, and I send him as soon as we're done at night, I send him the SoundCloud link at like 5:30 so he can go through and build out the page he wants to put up on the forums to catalog all the information. But sometimes I hit him up like, all right, there's embargoed information in this, I can't do it, right? But then when I upload it to YouTube, like I'll put it in and just private. I won't schedule it. I'm terrified that I'm going to do that because the YouTube's done it before where it's just like YouTube gets bonked on the head. Someone like, oh, publish all the fucking videos. Like, what are you doing? No, we didn't say to do that. No.
And that's so true with like YouTube. It's so reliable 99.9% of the time. Then all of a sudden one time it's like, I definitely set that as private. Why is it live?
Right.
So things like that happen, and it's a scary world when you're on the content creation side.
Yeah,
Thankfully, we don't do anything of real consequence.
And see, that's the thing too, where it's like I feel for the guy where oh, you should get fired, that you get reprimanded, blah blah. Is the fact that we get it? I get when you talk about anxiety, I get the anxiety when we have something embargoed that I know is embargoed, and I hate fucking up an embargo because I know it's again somebody's content plan that I just screwed up, right?
Man,
and it's because
I'm not mad. I'm disappointed.
This is my first time touching it, and I don't want to drop the ball. And so for this guy who's been working on the game 6 months, a year and a half, whatever the fuck, right? But that's how it was in the beginning. That's how it was for the whole studio in the beginning. That's how it was for that guy with his binder at lunch, right? When he first got it. But weeks and weeks and weeks into this thing, that's when it does become like, oh, I got to do this, but I got to do that. I got this meeting. But when you forget the binder, you forget that you have your thing open, that you shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
It sucks.
It does.